Overtime beers?
Did not hear that. Didn't hear the. Give me a spot cow.
Yeah.
Should I do an intro with finger point?
Hey.
How's that? You like that one? That'd be good. I don't
I don't
know.
understand. I don't understand the finger point. It's an overtime thing.
Our last overtime. Did you watch our last one? Do you know watch our videos?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You
I
didn't
don't
think I
remember
was.
this.
You didn't think I was doing the intro, and I'm like, I had the finger point. Don't you remember?
Oh,
And you're like, oh, I thought I
okay.
did.
Yeah, I do remember.
I did the finger point on intros. There you go. See, I'm going to try and piece that thing together. We'll put it on the internet. We only get like 68 views on our overtime videos, so maybe that will get us 70. We'll find out very
Isn't that a
soon.
little? Isn't that a little surprising that
Yeah, it is a
the
little bit
overtime
surprising.
where we talk about the entire NFL, we get less views?
I know. I feel
That's
like
just because.
we're more fun in these episodes too.
Yeah, right. We're loose. We're just chilling. But
Yeah.
you know what it is? It's because the Packers are America's team. There's just more Packer fans out there than any other fans. So
Gotta be
yeah,
it. It's gotta be
that's
it.
probably what it is.
I don't think that's it. I think,
Oh,
I don't, I just don't, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the purple background with Brad Childress on the front cover of it. I just, it's not
Funkin'
enough
Brad
clickbait.
Childress.
Yeah, we need more clickbait.
You
Well,
know, if anyone out there, if any of our viewers know how to get us out of algorithm purgatory, comment below. Give us your ideas. What can we do?
so that's 68 potential viewers, maybe 40 that made it this far. And we
3 minutes in.
and we need, and we need one of those 40 to know how to solve the YouTube algorithm. By God, there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a
You're
chance?
telling me there's a chance.
Well,
Yes.
it's been a while since we've done this. You got some topics that you want to talk about around the NFL? Do we want to talk about how the Jets still suck? Do we want to talk about
How
um,
the Cowboys suck.
the Cowboys suck? Do we want to talk about Preston Smith being traded? Do we want to talk about, I don't know, what do you want to talk about to open this up?
I mean, we can hit it all. We can hit it all. I mean, I got a rundown of some things from week 10. Just quick little highlights from I went through the entire schedule, remembering what exactly happened in each matchup. And there's a few games where I kind of just a little tidbit about a few of these teams.
Give me some
So
tidbits.
starting from the top. So did you watch that Sunday Night Football game?
I did.
Yeah. That was actually the only game I watched all day that day. Packers weren't
Same.
playing. I had a bunch of work to get done, so I was outside.
Same.
So didn't watch any football, but I was
It
like,
was-
I am watching this Sunday Night Football game.
It was the day to get all of your summer stuff and fall stuff
Yep.
like packed and get ready for winter. It was the
Put
perfect
the
Sunday.
patio furniture away. I burned some brush out in the back. Yeah, that's what I spent my day doing on
I was
Sunday.
leaf blowing like crazy on Sunday. The leaf blower was my best friend.
Blowing them leaves. Damn straight.
But yes, I watched the Sunday Night Football game.
What do you want? It was a great game. It was a great game to watch. And the Texans looked damn good that first half. And I thought for sure the Lions were losing that game. My tidbit about that game, Goff threw 5 interceptions all in the first half. They were down by 15 points and they
were all in the first half?
I believe so, yeah. I believe all the picks were in the first half.
I think he had one more in the second.
Okay. Well, okay, still 4 picks in the first half. And
one of them was a Hail Mary.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I agree.
You're killing my vibe here, man. He threw 5 picks and they still won the game. That's my point.
I know.
And I mean, it just shows, how good this Lions team is, even when they're playing their absolute worst. They still found a way. And I don't know what it was. That Texans offense just was not clicking as well in the second half. And I don't know if it was the Texans offense itself just wasn't converting, or if the Lions defense had changed some things up to kind of stop what the Texans had been successful with in the first half. I don't know if which one of those two things it was, but Texans couldn't get anything going in the second half, and that's how they lost, really.
I think it's a mixture of, I think, all of that. But what I could tell, or my impression of it watching that game, was that Texans were playing not to lose, and Detroit was playing to win, right? And it was pretty obvious throughout that whole second half, just with how just the momentum and the plays that were made. And that's not new for the Texans. I've seen it a couple times previously this year where they've been able to hang on to those games, but they get into this mode where they've been able to jump out to some early leads and then just hold on for dear life. But yeah, I was right there with you. It seemed like that was one of those games where Detroit could have, should have, would have dropped a game, because I don't know if they're going to drop a whole lot of games the rest of the year. And it was really, that's probably the whole reason I was watching. I just wanted to see Detroit lose. I'm like, okay, let's make it happen. We need another loss from the Lions somewhere.
Well, and if anything, I think it showed, I mean, over the last few weeks, it's been the consensus that the Lions are probably the best team in the NFL. But if anything, that game showed that they are susceptible. They still have some spots where they can be exploited, and the Texans did that in the first half at least. And the Lions offense, even though they did come back and win, they still struggled. They still struggled a little bit. I mean, they eventually were converting and, getting first downs and kind of marching down the field, but there wasn't any big explosive plays necessarily. I think Jahmyr Gibbs had a couple of big runs that kind of set him up for a couple of field goals in their comeback. But yeah, it kind of showed that they can be beat.
They can be beat, but they also show that they can turn it on when they need to and find a way to win. I want to pull out this sheet. You probably need like an abacus of some sort to dissect this, but this was our preseason predictions.
I can't even see it.
Perfect. Preseason predictions, you had Detroit 8-1 through 10 weeks. And here they are, 8-1. You have them losing in week 11. Who did they play this week? Jacksonville.
That was back when we thought Jacksonville was going to be at least a decent team this year.
Well, speaking of which, Trevor Lawrence did not play on Sunday, and they gave the Vikings a battle.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's one of your tidbits.
That was another one of my tidbits. The Vikings win without scoring a touchdown and Sam Darnold throwing 3 picks. They still won. I don't know if that's
not the same thing as Detroit, by the way.
No,
no, that's not.
No, the Jags are just that bad.
I don't have I probably could pull up the Vikings remaining schedule, but I still have them in my top 10 power rankings. I still think that let's not get into power rankings quite yet, but I think that the wheels are going to continue to kind of go flat and fall apart here. I think they make the playoffs, but I don't think they deserve to be as dominant of a team as we thought they were the first 7-8 weeks of the season. I'm seeing cracks in this team.
And I hate to be the one to say it to these Vikings fans, but kind of told you so. We talked about it.
Screw the Vikings fans.
We talked about it when they were 5-0, and then they had a week 6 bye.
Yeah.
And what's happening now? Another point to that game. So
no. Tidbit.
Another tidbit to that game. This is something else that we've talked about in the past. Aaron Jones' injury woes. So he went out of that game with a chest injury. He ended up coming back, but it just goes to show, like my opinion when the Packers released him and then brought in Josh Jacobs was, hate to see him go. Love him as a person, love him as a player. He was a great Packer, a great guy in the locker room, but he had some injury issues, and we have seen that with the Vikings already. He's missed a couple of games. He missed part of that game. And again, he did come back, but Is he questionable throughout the week this week? Is he going to play in week 11? What other injuries come up throughout the season? So, and we talked about it in that matchup with the Packers. Aaron Jones kind of seems to be the engine that makes that offense go. And if he's not out there, they kind of fall apart a little bit. So if he continues to get injured, I think they continue to see struggles.
Yeah, but I think you're exactly right on hitting the nail right on the head with that last season he missed multiple games because of injury. But when he came back and was healthy, I think he had like 3 or 4, maybe 5 consecutive 100-yard games to finish the season, and was the difference for the Packers offense as well. For $1 million or $2 million more, though, they could have had him, right? And that probably wouldn't have been as big of a concern. You have Josh Jacobs as the workhorse, and you got Aaron Jones as that second force. But if he battles injuries, that's fine. Maybe they don't draft Marshawn Lloyd at that point, and they stick with Emmanuel Wilson as that third option. But we never got a chance to I don't think we ever talked about it throughout training camp or anything like that in our previous videos, but for $1 million or $2 million more is all that they would have had to offer him. I would love to have Aaron Jones as our number 2 running back. That would be injuries and everything. He probably doesn't get as injured because he's not required to do as much.
Relied on to be the first, second, third down back. Yeah. No, I guess I wasn't aware of that. I don't know that we've talked about that before, that it was that amount of money that the Packers would have had to step up to keep him. I guess I wasn't aware of that. But
I think the Packers offered him like $5 or $6 million for that additional year, and he signed with Minnesota for $7 million. So it was more the principle for Aaron Jones to just be like, I feel like, I've been here, I've taken pay cuts in the past. I'm the sombrero wearing face of this franchise. Like, come on, why are you trying to lowball me? And there was that brief moment where we thought we might have had both of them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why negotiations broke apart. And then he just went out, and I don't know if he was getting any more money from different teams, but I definitely think taking Minnesota and being able to play Green Bay twice a year probably influenced his decision quite a bit too.
Did the Packers sign Jacobs before Jones signed with the Vikings? So I'm sure that had something to do with it as well. Yeah. Them signing Jacobs, Jones knowing, okay, well, he's going to be the starting running back. I'm going to take a back seat. That may have influenced a decision as well.
Yeah, like I said, when the news broke that Jacobs was signed, there was like a 3-hour window where we had both of them. And we're like, oh my gosh, this backfield's going to be phenomenal. And then it was later, released that the Packers came back at a lower offer than what Jones was okay accepting, and the rest is history. But yeah, we live in an alternate universe. So
talking about Aaron Jones kind of leads me into the Preston Smith trade, because there was something that I wanted to touch on, a tidbit I wanted to touch on.
There we go. We got a theme
with that
going.
trade. So one of the few things that came out during the Packers bye week was Preston Smith was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 7th round pick. Kudos to our man, Nariah Chapek. He kind of called it early in the preseason.
You thought it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, crazy's good though, right? You got to be a little crazy. So yeah, Nariah called it. Preston Smith is no longer with the Packers. And then it was very interesting to see kind of how it all played out. Preston Smith had a press conference when he first got to Pittsburgh and kind of said that it was his request. He felt that he didn't fit the new system well. He didn't feel that he was producing as he should, and he didn't blame the organization. He didn't have anything against the Packers. Once I heard that, the fact that the Packers only got a 7th round pick out of it made a lot more sense to me. When I first saw 7th round pick for Preston Smith to the Steelers, I was like, really? That's all they could get out of it? Like, I mean, I know his production's been down, but they probably could have gotten more. But the fact that he requested the trade, it makes a lot more sense to me. The Packers just were like, okay, he is asking for a trade for reasonable reasons, right? He's not like upset that he's not getting more playing time. He's not being a drama queen. He's legitimately says, I don't think that I'm a good fit for this. Would you consider trading me? And so they were more willing to accept kind of a lower offer for him. The piece about Aaron Jones that connects this, I think Aaron Jones had tweeted after the news came out that Smith was being traded, tweeted something like, damn, they really wanted to get everybody out of there, which is a little confusing to me. Like, before the matchup, the Packers-Vikings matchup, there seemed to be a little bit of animosity coming from Aaron Jones. And then the week of the matchup came, and he released that big, long letter to Packers fans, thanking the fans, thanking the organization, saying how much he loved Green Bay, blah, blah, blah. It was all love when he was in Green Bay. You know, everything seemed to be good. And now it's back to the organization kicked him out. He's animosity towards the Packers. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And it kind of hurts my viewpoint on Aaron Jones. Like, I really liked the letter that he wrote and thanking the fans, thanking the organization. That was awesome to see. But then for him to come out now and now he's bashing the Packers again, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
I think to my previous point that Aaron Jones he took pay cut after pay cut, consecutive seasons to stay on that roster, to stay on the team and remain in Green Bay. I honestly think that's a team that he wanted to just play his entire career with. And 22 took a pay cut, 23 took a pay cut, and then we got the 24. Get Jacobs on the roster. They had made him an offer, but he was like, no, I'm worth more than that. And I think that probably, regardless of how long, I don't take anything away from Aaron Jones. It is a business. We hear it all the time when you hear these players talk. It is a business. You got to make those tough decisions. I think he's worth more than $5 million as a running back. Easily, I would say that for a season. So I do see that. You posted it. Damn, they wanted all of us out of there. I didn't know that before, so I just wanted to make sure I got the quote right. Not that I didn't believe you, but I want to make sure I got the quote right. It is interesting. I don't know if there's anything more to it other than that he's salty because he probably wanted to stay with Green Bay. And he was prime example number one of, I want to stay with this organization, but I also have a value and you're undervaluing me. What that has to do with Preston Smith specifically, I don't think there's any correlation. I think Preston Smith just didn't fit into this defense. With what we've seen from his production the first 9 games, they need fast bodies all over that middle linebacker group. In that 3-4 defense, they need fast bodies. And Preston Smith is not a fast body. A little bit older in the NFL as far as terms go there. I think he did really well his first couple of years. The fact that he hung around for 5.5 seasons, it's a little bit surprising considering they let Zadarius Smith walk a couple of years ago, or they got rid of him a couple of years ago. But not too big of a surprise to me. I'm not just saying that because I called it, but he didn't seem like the right body type for what that defense was looking to do. And there are there's depth on that defense to fill in, and you're paying them a fraction of the cost. So you get a 7th round pick and you let go of the rest of that contract. I think it's a win-win for everyone involved, quite frankly.
Yeah, it made sense.
You got any more tidbits?
Oh, I got tidbits. I got all the tidbits. All right. I'll run through them quick so that we can get to our power rankings and our schedule predictions. So again, going through the schedule from last week, there were a few teams, specific teams that I wanted to touch on. And we kind of already mentioned these two. Cowboys are toast. Cowboys are done. Dak Prescott is done for the season. Their offense looks abysmal. They got Micah Parsons back, which is a little bit of boost for their defense. But we kind of called it beginning of the season. We both had feelings that this Dallas team would regress from their previous success. That rhymes. I'm not a rapper, if anybody's wondering. But yeah, Cowboys are toast. The New York Jets. Oh,
real quick with the Cowboys. So you actually called that a little bit more than I did, for sure, when we were going through some of our preseason predictions. You were on top of that one with the Cowboys. Shouldn't have brought back Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones needs to stay out of the limelight. I don't know I honestly think as long as Jerry Jones is the owner of that team, and requires the amount of attention that he does, that organization will never, ever reach a Super Bowl. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
I
Did
was,
you
I was,
see? Did
go
you
ahead.
see Jerry Jones came out and said that he's not planning to fire McCarthy? We had
Yeah, that
talked
was
about it before. We
2
thought
weeks
that.
ago, I think, is when that happened. Is that he said, yeah, I'm not planning, unless he did it again
I think he
after.
said it again. I think
Okay.
it was in the last couple of days here. He came out and said again that he's not planning to fire McCarthy.
So I don't watch a lot of, I haven't watched a lot of football in general, but I did catch ESPN this morning. They were discussing how when the game ends, reporters have access to Jerry Jones very first before they even talk to Mike McCarthy on what are your thoughts on the game? What are the thoughts on the team and the organization and all this stuff? Could you imagine the head coach not being that face and being the one to field those questions? And it's always your boss that has to, and then you hear what your boss. There's no way it will ever work. It didn't work under
Yeah.
Jason Garrett. It's not worked under Mike McCarthy. I don't think anybody wants that job in Dallas as the head coach. That'd be the worst job in the NFL as long as Jerry Jones is there. It'd be no
Well,
different than Mark Murphy is commenting on everything before Matt LaFleur hits the podium. It's like, get back into your corner,
right.
know your spot. Let the people who are actually coaching this team address what the concerns and the questions are. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, as far as a success or the win column standpoint, yes, it's probably the worst place to be as a head coach in the NFL. But I'm sure Jerry Jones is willing to fork out a lot of money for a high profile head coach.
He needs a strong-minded head coach. Like,
Yeah.
Bill Belichick should go to Dallas.
I don't think Bill ever would. He wouldn't put up with it. He wouldn't put
Exactly.
up with it. They'd
That's
butt
what
heads
needs
too
to
much.
happen. No.
It does.
I'm going to come here, Jerry. Yup. Pay me my $100 million for the next 4 seasons. And what I'm going to say is stay in your freaking post, watch the game, but I do not want you interfering. He needs that type of, like a coach with that amount of respect. You go and take a college head coach or any of these other like coordinators that might have an opportunity to make the next step. It won't work. Jerry Jones will never find a Super Bowl unless he gets a head coach that can put him in his place. And I can't think of anyone else outside of Belichick that would put him in his place.
Do you know Jerry Jones? Do you know his background at all? Like like we've been talking about, he makes all the decisions in this organization. He gets media coverage before the head coach. Like, I doubt that he has any really major football background. Like, did he even play football? Like,
No.
So how can, as an organization, I mean, I guess he's the owner, so he gets to make all these calls, but how can you think that that's ever going to work? Someone who has probably barely even played the game, making all these major decisions, making all the, it's asinine. It doesn't make any sense.
We get 68 viewers, so I'll say this. It's the Trump effect. You put a guy who can make decisions at the top, and he puts people in place that are way smarter at him in these fields and lets them just do their job, right? That's what needs that needs to be the case with Jerry Jones. He hire the people who can do it and let them do it. And then just be a figurehead of the organization, but don't he does nothing but create drama in that entire organization. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I mean, I barely even know, outside of Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft, I don't think, and like the Lions owner, Ford, the old lady. Yeah. Outside of those few, I really have no idea who owns these teams. And that's the way it should be, right?
They win in Jacksonville. He was like an oil baron of some sort. Saudi Arabian guy.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, back to the tidbit. Cowboys are toast. Cowboys are done.
Yep.
But you know who else is toast?
The Jets.
The New York Jets.
Yep.
The New York Jets are toast. I believe, I don't know if it's official yet, but they're pretty much out of playoff contention at this point.
No.
So
that can't be right. They're 3-7, 3-6.
I think they're 2-something, 2-7, 2-8.
You continue your thoughts. But
Well,
why?
so a couple of things that I've seen after their awful, awful loss to the Patriots. They didn't score a touchdown. I believe they only scored 3 points, 6 points maybe.
They have fact check that. Jets are 3-7. And yes, they lost 6-31.
Yeah, just awful against the Patriots, who are
Cardinals.
not. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking the Patriots did win this week, but sorry, I was thinking
they did lose to the Patriots 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm remembering. But anyway, I mean, I don't know the exact number, but there was a post talking about all the issues that this Jets team has. Basically, their season is very close to being over. And they've got, I don't know the exact number. I thought it was 30, but it was something like 20 or 30 players whose contracts are expiring this year.
Yeah.
So they brought in all these guys on short-term contracts to bring Aaron Rodgers all these weapons and everything, and this season is imploding. And then on top of that, you've got Aaron Rodgers, who is
imploding
past his prime, 40 plus years old. Like, what this Jets team is done for years. Like, they will not be successful for years because of what they've done.
Yeah.
Because of what they've done, what Aaron Rodgers has done.
Yeah, 3-7's rough. You got to figure they can afford 2 more losses this season, right? 9 losses. And no, I mean, not really. That'd be 8-9. That wouldn't work. That won't get you the playoffs. Yeah, they might be toast. I mean, it could be season over already. Oh, no.
Yeah, I think so.
On that topic, what a job by Gutekunst to make
right.
to make the call. Like, I think Adams had 1 or 2 good seasons still. One for sure, 1 good season in Vegas. Aaron Rodgers, hurt, obviously not old Aaron Rodgers. So as hard as it is to make those decisions, they made them, and it was the right thing to do from an organization. As much as fans, as much as we love the team, we don't want to see these players leave that we've rooted for 10 years. That is why you do it. You trust the guy in charge to make the call, and that makes us happy, and Jets fans absolutely miserable. It's full circle.
It's a circle. It's never ending.
Yeah, it's bad. I think, I mean, Rodgers still is under contract through next year. I think you gotta, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. You can bring him back.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he retires, honestly. Midway through the season. He might retire next week.
I think they trade him to Chicago for Caleb Williams.
We talked about Chicago not hitting the panic button. Like, that's the worst thing they could do right now. That's not the worst thing they could do. The worst thing they could do is trade Caleb Williams for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay. Well, they might do it.
Is this your hot take of the night?
Yeah, I've been right in the past. So, okay, maybe it's not Chicago, but Aaron doesn't want to be. Well, I don't even know anymore. I'm trying to, because now Adams is there, so
right.
Maybe he does want to be there because he's back with his. What? It'd be so funny if he bailed on Adams again. It was like, hey, deuces, see you later. Adams wants a long-term contract with the Jets, which I don't know why he would want that. And that organization is nowhere close to winning a Super Bowl. If Rodgers wants to win a Super Bowl, he can take let's take the last turn, exit, and maybe find one more team. I'm just trying to think about what that team might be.
We know who that team is. We know who that team is, Naraya. We know who it is. Yeah. We've already seen it.
Okay.
The Minnesota Vikings. History repeats itself.
Oh.
Brett Favre.
I thought you were going to say the Dolphins. This Tua's
going
to die.
Brett Favre went to the Jets and then went to the Vikings.
I know.
History repeats itself.
Give me another tidbit. You got any more of those?
Yeah, I got a couple more. We already talked about the Vikings, talked about their ridiculous win without scoring a touchdown. The next couple of tidbits that I have are actually a little more positive. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So a few weeks ago, they lost both of their top 2 wide receivers, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. At that point in that game, I was like, man, their season's probably done, because those are their 2 top weapons. They were playing very well before that happened, but at that point, I was like, oh man, it's going to be a tough rest of the season for them. They've lost the last couple of games, but they've also played both San Francisco and Kansas City, 2
Right.
of the better teams in the league, and the Bucs have hung in there with them, which to me is a testament to Baker Mayfield himself. Like, he's the real deal. He's a good quarterback in this league. He's doing it with young and inexperienced receivers. They've got like this 3-headed backfield going on with Bucky Irving. He's a rookie, and they're still finding ways to score points, still finding ways to hang in there with some of the top teams in the league. So they might get Mike Evans back soon. Not sure, but yeah, I don't think that the Bucs are down and out just yet. So that was interesting to see these last couple of weeks. And then another team.
They're only 2 games back in the NFC South, behind the Atlanta Falcons, which have what an up and down team that is. Is Baker Mayfield not, like, he's the most lovable quarterback in the NFL right now? Like,
I love it.
You can
I
see
love
the
watching him
heart.
play.
He's got so much heart and will, and just his full backstory of starting out in Cleveland and then just it all. You'd love to see it. Yeah. And he's not getting paid a whole lot of money. He's not even like a 15 paid quarterback.
Well, and it's interesting, his pathway to where he's at now. I mean, he was with the Browns for quite a while, and he had a little bit of success here and there. But then he was with the Rams for a little while too, and he came in. He was with the Rams, and Stafford got injured, and he came in and balled out with the Rams for a couple of games, and then he made his way to Tampa, where it seems like he's found his spot, where he's been the most successful. So it's been fun to see. And honestly, Baker Mayfield, he's had to grow on me, because way back when he was drafted number 1 overall by the Browns, I was like blown away by that pick. Like, he was not projected to be the number 1 overall pick. And I kind of saw him. I didn't know a whole lot about him, but from what I saw in college, I think he played at Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
From what I saw out of him at Oklahoma, he reminded me of Johnny Manziel, kind of that high energy, party boy kind of vibe, right? And so that's kind of what I was expecting to see once he got drafted by the Browns, and but he's grown into this very successful quarterback in the league, and he's grown on me. Like we talked about, like we just said, he's super fun to watch. He's got a lot of heart in the game, and it's fun.
Just goes to show that some of these quarterbacks will take 5, 6, 7 years to really kind of. And it's all environment too. You nailed it on the head. He ends up in Tampa Bay with an organization that wants him, and I think he's loving life, and he's willing to put everything on the line to go out there and win. So it's cool to see. He's definitely playing out of his mind.
If I was a Bucs fan, or if I was not a Packers fan, I'd be definitely rooting for them to win their division and make playoffs, and have a run, just because there's so much. He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. What else you got, Tidbit?
Just a couple more. Another team that, man, they've been fun to watch, and they've been putting up points, putting up numbers, but they just are running into the worst luck, I feel like. The Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
Burrow I think he had 5 touchdowns against the Ravens, and they still ended up losing that game. Jamar Chase had an insane amount of receiving. Like, I think it was over 200 receiving yards. It was insane. But they still came up short. And honestly, Bengals should have won that game. Did you watch any of it?
I watched the whole thing, because you took the Bengals, I took the Ravens, and I was like, come on, momentum swing. Come on, just swing back over. Yeah.
So that 2-point conversion at the end,
You think?
So obviously, I don't think there was pass interference on the play. I think it just was the guy kind of was falling down and it tipped off his hands. But did you see Burrow got hit in the face
Yep.
after he threw it? I mean, that's a penalty. They should have had another shot at it.
It's tough though. I mean, on those like game-winning plays,
Yeah, I know the refs kind of just
you gotta let it play. You know,
right,
it goes both ways.
right. Yeah, I know. But because I picked the Bengals, they should have thrown the flag, and the Bengals would have won that game if they would have thrown the flag.
Bengals are 4-6, and I think they still make the playoffs. I think they figure it out here.
Yeah,
And
I mean, they don't look like a 4-6 team. It's hard to watch them lose, honestly, because I like the Bengals as well. I like Joe Burrow. I like Jamar Chase. They're fun to watch, just like we were talking about. Baker Mayfield's fun to watch.
so
I
the
like that
seventh
team.
seed right now in the AFC is the Broncos, but they're 5-5. Then you have the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals all at 4-6. So
Yeah,
they still have a path. They get hot. They win some of these games. I mean, both games against the Ravens were extremely well fought, and we both have the Ravens in the top 3 of our power rankings. So, like, I think they'll figure it out. And Joe Burrow does tend to play better later in the season than he does in the start of the season. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I like Burrow too. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Got that.
Last tidbit.
Okay, go for it.
Last tidbit. Kansas City Chiefs, 9-0.
They are.
Still figuring out ways to win games. I really thought the Broncos were going to be the ones to take them down. It makes the most sense to me. You know, a team that's didn't have a lot of expectation to start the season. They've been playing fairly well with their rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. I thought this was it. I thought the Chiefs were going down, but they still found a way to win. And I saw an interesting stat of any 9-0 team in NFL history. The 2024 Kansas City Chiefs have the lowest point differential of any 9-0 team ever. Wow. I think don't quote me on this, but I think what I saw was they're plus 58 on the season.
You brought all that energy and then you couldn't back it up with stats. Hey, it's all right. It happens to the best of us.
But plus 58, I mean, that number sounds big, but if you think about it, so like the Ravens beat a team 41-10, you know, that's 31 point differential, 31 points, 31 point differential right there. Okay. So on the season as a whole, the Chiefs have only won by a total of 58 points.
I don't know why it went away. Damning league.
There we go.
Oh, no, pick this. So you're exactly right. Plus 58 point differential on the season. I'm just trying to find, I mean, as far as teams with really good records, Detroit at 8-1, they're plus 113.
Right.
Buffalo is plus 97 at 8-2. Philadelphia plus 72, 69 for the Steelers, 64 for the Vikings. Yeah, I mean, they're squeaking by. They're finding ways to win.
And we've talked about it. Each week we talk about it, how they just barely get out of these games. So it's got to change at some point. I think it was an ESPN analyst that said that he thinks that they go undefeated this year. And I just don't see how that, strictly based on odds, I feel like they have to lose at least one or two.
It's not
with how close these games have been.
It's not their best team either. Like, they've had better rosters before.
Right, yeah.
But they're finding ways to win. It's tough to bet against them running the table. Granted, they're going to have a gauntlet on their hands this Sunday when they face off against the Bills.
I'm excited for that game.
If they get past the Bills, I don't see why they couldn't win their last 7 games of the season.
Yeah, we'll see. That's the last tidbit I got, Nariah.
All right. Well, I like tidbits. Tidbits were a nice little change of pace. So I have not watched a whole lot of football. After the Packers lost, I was like, I don't want to watch any football the rest of that weekend. And then there was a bye week. So I was just like, I watched a little bit of the Thursday night game. I watched a little bit of the Sunday night football game. little bit of the Miami game last night or Monday night, but yeah, I didn't really keep up with a whole lot of any of it. I looked at the final scores to see if the Vikings lost, and that didn't happen. Saw that the Bears lost. That was good, but let's kick it over we'll do power rankings real quick. We're already 42 minutes into this lovely episode, so we can do speed predictions as well as power rankings.
We
On the
touched on a
overlay-
lot of these teams, so there's not a whole lot we'll have to say when we're picking.
Nothing to say. So we might be figuring out what we think we know about these teams. You have very little movement.
Yeah.
I'm gonna once this is edited, your overlay will be off to the side here. Really, the only movement on your power rankings is you flipped Pittsburgh and Washington primarily because the Steelers beat Washington on Sunday.
Yep.
And then the only other change is you moved the Los Angeles Chargers up to that 10 spot. First time on your power rankings, if I'm not mistaken. What do you like about the Chargers?
I don't know. They've been playing well the last few weeks. And I was looking at, what was the other team that I considered at that 10 spot?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, so, I mean, the Chargers are 6-3. They got the same record as the Packers right now, and they have been playing better football the last few weeks. So that's kind of why I moved them up to that 10 spot. And part of it was based on record because let me pull up the schedule last week because there was another team that I considered putting at 10, but strictly based on the Chargers having a better record, I picked the Chargers over this other team, but I can't remember who it was. Let's see here.
Well, so on my power rankings, I put Houston at number 10.
Yeah.
I saw your pick of the Chargers. You actually did your power rankings before I did, and I'm like, that's a good idea. I mean, Chargers at 10, they're trending in the right direction. My problem with the Chargers right now is that I don't think they hang on to it. They face the Bengals on Sunday night. It must be their bye week because it's on the 17th. So they're in a bye week right now. They face the Bengals, then they face the Ravens, and I have a hard time imagining that they come away with any of those victories. So that's why I didn't put them at number 10 on my power rankings. I went with the Houston Texans primarily because they fought like hell against the Lions. They're one of those 6-3 teams as well. I believe they're 6-3. They fought like hell against the Lions and they played well. And I just think that they're one of the more powerful 10 seeds in our division or in the league right now. But what was the other team that you were considering? Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I figured it out. It was the Niners.
Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking about.
Yeah, Niners have been clawing their way back. We touched on it a little bit earlier. They got Christian McCaffrey back now. So I do think that we start to see the Niners creep their way back up the rankings.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll probably crack my top 10 next week. They play Seattle this Sunday.
Yeah.
And then they face off against the Packers. And then they're at Green Bay and at Buffalo. So those are going to be two pretty big defining matchups for them. And I love that they face off against the Lions in week 17. It sucks. I wish we could have played the beat up 49ers, but to your point, they're getting healthy.
Right, yeah.
Probably going to find their mojo. And we're going to see what happens there. But yeah, not a lot of movement on your side of power rankings, a little bit of movement on mine. I finally decided to move the Bills above the Ravens. And then I dropped the Washington Commanders down to 8. They were, I think, 5 or something previously on my power rankings. Nothing really against them, but obviously the Steelers beat them. And I think if the Packers were to face Washington, I have enough trust that the Packers could find a way to get that victory. So Washington has a really good record. I believe they're 7-2, 7-3.
Yeah, I think so. 7-2.
So that's kind of what's going on with my side. And then I dropped Minnesota down to 9. I would not be surprised I think I have Minnesota winning. We're going to get to schedule predictions here very soon, but I think Minnesota will probably drop out of my top 10 here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm seeing them trending in the wrong direction for sure. Yeah. And surprisingly, the Packers had a bye week and I moved them up 2 spots. I didn't think I was going to do that, but why not?
Yeah, that's probably the only reason there wasn't a whole lot of movement with the Packers specifically for me, because they had a bye week and, there's really I want to see a change, right? I went through my whole spiel on what I think the Packers needed to do over this bye week. So I need to see that happen before I start moving them back up the power rankings.
And that's perfectly fair. But as I look at this power rankings, I'm convinced that Green Bay is one of the better teams in the NFL. Like we do a top 10 power rankings, but really it's a top 7 or 8. Like these 9 and 10 teams that we continually try to throw in here for a little bit of spice, they're constantly rotating in and out of our power rankings. But these 7, 8 teams are there every single week, and it's just a matter of who's trending in the right direction at what time. We have a pretty good grasp of what's going on this season, so it's going to be a lot of fun once 8 more weeks to go. And when the playoffs roll around, to kind of see how this all shakes out. Schedule predictions. Okay, 48 minutes in. We're going to try to keep this episode under an hour. I think we can do this.
Oh, yeah.
Let me pull up the schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I never do a side-by-side here. Are you getting in this habit of going through and actually, like, looking at the matchups and trying to give an educated guess of, rather than me just hitting you on the spot of what these matchups are?
You know, like honestly,
new strategy on me.
Honestly, so when I type out my notes and I type out every single matchup for the week, and then I pick before I send it to you, I don't do any digging. I just go strictly based off of my gut feeling. So it's really not much different than you laying out the matchup to me and me picking. It's really not much different, but at least I do it ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, you need some kudos here. Outside of that Bengals matchup on Thursday, let's see. Last week, I think actually Carolina beat the Giants, didn't they?
So they did, yeah.
You had the Patriots, the Bills, the Chiefs. Okay. Oh, hold on. Yeah, maybe you didn't do as well as I thought you did.
Did I take the Dolphins?
You did take the Dolphins. Yep. We both took the Falcons, and they got upset by New Orleans. That was a wild thing that happened. I think you made up some ground on me. I think you might have had 1 or 2 more picks correct than I did. You had a pretty strong outing. So we're only separated by, I think, 3 victories on the season. I'll get the exact math correct here at some point. So let's fly through these schedule predictions. It starts on Thursday night. Really good Thursday night football game. Washington at Philadelphia. Let me get my schedule. Who'd you take? What'd you think?
I took the Eagles. I think the Eagles they came out of their bye week and got healthy, and now they're looking pretty damn good.
Yeah, they look good. I'm taking Washington in this one just because they also look good, and I think that Philadelphia is due a loss. With how they started the beginning of the season, a little bit up and down. Yeah, they found more of their mojo here, but I think that a surprise upset victory would be due, and Philadelphia's a 3.5 point favorite, so I'll take the upset with Washington in this game. Green Bay, we both have over the Bears. Jacksonville and Detroit. You took the Lions.
Yes.
Do we know if Trevor Lawrence is playing?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. It does matter.
Oh, really?
It matters. Yeah.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence played Sunday against the Vikings, and they win that game. All right. But I'll take Detroit as well because I don't know. Minnesota at Tennessee. I don't have your prediction up. What do you got?
I took Minnesota.
I took the Titans.
I like it.
Yep. Road game for Minnesota. That
Titans defense is good. I think they may be the top defense in the league. So
are they still rocking Will Levis too, or did they bench that?
Levis was injured. They were starting Mason Rudolph the last few weeks, but I believe I saw that Levis is going to play this week.
Okay.
So does that change your prediction at all?
No, it doesn't matter. Just like it doesn't matter if Trevor Lawrence plays. I'll take Tennessee in this game.
Okay. All right.
Vegas and Miami. Dolphins open at 7.5 points favorites. Vegas, we don't need to talk about them, but they are one of the just rebuilding dumpster fire teams of the league, right up there with the Jets. Both you and I took the Dolphins, I believe. No changes there. Yep. And yeah, this Dolphins team is completely different with Tua. Not saying that That's all I need to say. They're completely different. Tua makes a difference.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of that game on Sunday?
Yeah, I
Or
did.
Monday night? Monday night?
I watched most of it. Yeah.
Were you worried every time like Tua was about to get sacked? Like I was just like,
Oh yeah. Every time anybody touched him, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna die.
he's gonna die.
Well, and did you see that
I'm watching it.
I think it must have been at one point when I wasn't watching, but apparently he must have tucked the ball and run or something like that. Or no, I think he threw a pick or there was a fumble or something like that. And he went to make the tackle and he dropped his head to make the tackle. Like, and then he was asked about it after the game. And they're like, did you think about, when you tried to make that tackle, was that in your mind at all? Like not dying. It's basically
like-
what they were trying to ask him. He's like, no, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he's like, I like snakes. Guess. I like turtles. Okay. All right, back on the field, Tua. Anyway, I might cut that out. We don't know. It's overtime. 68
No.
years. We'll see. Okay, perfect. Rams head to New England. I took the Rams in this matchup. Any upset on your end?
Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Oh, I took the Rams as well.
Cleveland at New Orleans. You took the Saints?
Yeah.
I took the Browns. I think last
Okay.
week was a flash in the pan. I don't understand it.
I don't know. Derek Carr's back. They still have Alvin Kamara. And this Browns team is not good.
No, they're bad. I hear you. The Browns are bad, but I felt like I should tip my gut instinct. Colts at New York. As bad as the Jets are, I believe we both took the Jets in this one.
Yeah.
They're back at home, noon game on Sunday. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. That's a very fun matchup to watch. You took the Ravens, I believe, and I'm going to stick with the Steelers in this one. So I'm surprised you took the Ravens, actually.
Why is that?
Because you've had this whole up and down Ravens philosophy so far this season. Haven't had that with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's just kind of been flying under the radar, continuing to win, and their defense is legitimate.
Right.
Like they got a great defense.
Yeah, that's extremely valid. I can see a scenario where this Pittsburgh defense frustrates Lamar Jackson and he falls apart. I can definitely see that happening. Like I said,
wasn't very effective against the Bengals. Like they shut him down pretty
right,
good.
which is surprising because the Bengals' run defense has been kind of soft this year. So that was definitely surprising.
Atlanta at Denver. You took the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I did take the Falcons, which is I was the early on season better on the Broncos and Bo Nix and what that team's doing. I really want to believe in Atlanta for some reason. And every time I want to believe in them, they lose. So
You're a Kirk Cousins guy, huh?
I think he's good enough to get victories. Yeah.
No, I don't have anything against that Falcons team. I think they have a good team. They got Cousins, they got Bijan Robinson, they got Drake London, they got a strong pass defense. Like they got a lot of things going for them. I have nothing against them. I don't know. They've been very up and down, and the Denver Broncos are coming off of a close loss against the 9-0 Chiefs. I think the Broncos come in hungry, and Falcons, what's the word I'm looking for? Flutter. Falcons flounder a little bit again.
Yeah. That's the fish from Little Mermaid, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, just checking. Double checking. Fact check. Yeah, there were It was I don't even know which ones. I should have just marked them, but there were probably 4 picks that I left blank, and I was like, let me see what Christian takes first, and then I'll just take them.
Okay,
I'll take
all right.
the opposite.
All right,
because they were 50-50 matchups. This Atlanta one was one. The Baltimore one was one. For me, the Jets was one, and then I think that was, I guess let's get to the rest of them. Seattle at San Francisco. We both took the 49ers in that matchup. I think that they're going to start to have a little bit of resurgence. I think this last one was the one that I kept blank because I wanted to see which route you would win. So Kansas City at Buffalo. You're taking the Bills to end the undefeated season for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, there's no better opportunity. They're at home. They're hot. They're off to the best start that they've had in like 15 years, 20 years. So you're taking Buffalo. I will stick. I'll stick with the Chiefs in this one.
Okay.
We're gonna get a chance to see, like I alluded to 10 minutes ago. Chiefs get past the Bills. I think an undefeated season's in the works. But you don't think it's happening? Do you think it's close?
I mean, if they get past the Bills, I can see them with ending the season with 1 or 2 losses, but I don't think they go undefeated. I think there's still going to be at least one of those games that they don't squeak it out like they have all year.
See, I think they've hit this point in the season, and I liken it to the Golden State Warriors in the NBA, like 8 years ago, where they wanted to go for the most wins in the regular season. Like they had enough momentum halfway through, 3/4 of the way, and they're like, okay, let's just hit it hard. Let's break the record. I think Kansas City is a little bit surprised too that they're 9-0 at this point of the season. If they get past Buffalo and move to 10-0, I think that whole mindset is we've won multiple Super Bowls. We're defending champions. That's what's driving them and motivating that team is let's go for what hasn't been done since the 76 Dolphins. Is that what it is? 75?
It was the Dolphins. That's all I know. I don't know what year it was.
I think that's what like builds this team, but they have to get past Buffalo. Do you think the Buffalo game's a close game, or do you think Buffalo walks away from this one pretty handedly?
I'm sure it'll be close. I'm sure it'll be a battle, but I still think Buffalo wins it.
Well, they have that famous 2.5-point spread, which again, we contribute to home field advantage. Cincinnati at the Chargers. When I went through 5-10 minutes ago, when I talked about Cincinnati's on a bye week, I just had to realize that we're actually halfway through November. So apologies for that complete brain fart. That matchup's on Sunday Night Football. Bengals, Chargers. I took the Bengals. You took
The Bengals.
Bengals as well. Okay.
Yeah. And what may have you thought maybe the Bengals were on a bye week. I think this game got flexed to Sunday Night Football. I think originally it was the Jets matchup.
Probably.
And they flexed it to this game.
I mean, who would want to watch Jets Colts anyway, even if the Jets were
Right.
doing it? Like, who cares about that matchup? That's a good game. And then Monday night closes out week 11, Houston at Dallas. No surprises there. I'm taking the Texans as well as you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I took the Texans too. I just don't know. I don't know what Dallas is going to do, especially now that Dak's done for the season. Like, they have no hope, I feel like.
Nope. You think McCarthy stays the rest of the season? Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jones has come out and said he's not.
Yeah, that could
not
change.
moving on from him. Oh yeah, that could change tomorrow. Like, yeah, I don't know.
All right, well, per usual, it's 11 o'clock Central Time during the time of this recording, and Christian looks like he needs to go to sleep. He hit the proverbial wall, and you look, nah, man, I've lost all your energy.
We can keep going. Let's keep going.
Nope. You got more tidbits?
I got more. I mean, I'll come up with tidbits. Come on.
Yeah.
I can talk football all night.
I'm losing my voice. So there we go. We got our scheduled predictions, power rankings, some good talking points, hour-long episode on overtime. Tom and is it Max?
Max. Yeah,
Yep.
Max.
Go ahead, comment down below. Let us know you made it to the end. And until next time, I guess. Anything else you want to say?
Spayed new to your pets.
Spayed new to your pets. Beautiful. Good advice. And don't forget to tip your bartender. Until next time, we will see you on the internet. Thanks for watching.